Starting here with 5th place, he is Maha Zoldyck, a figure surrounded by mystery, but even with little direct information about him, his name resonates like a legend. He is the oldest and possibly most experienced member of the renowned Zoldyck assassin family. This name alone does justice to his reputation, as the Zoldyck family has been feared since the beginning of Hunter x Hunter. Maha is mentioned as someone who faced Netero in the past, which, in itself, is proof of his uncommon strength, considering that the president of the Hunter Association was widely recognized as one of the strongest fighters in history, and at his peak, he was out of this world. The precision with which Maha masters assassinations and none is something few can match. His presence in the family suggests he is a kind of pillar whose legacy has shaped generations of Zoldyck assassins. While his advanced age may be a limiting factor now, what he accomplished in his prime places him among the most powerful of all time, thus making him a name deserving of this 5th place. The top tiers of Hunter x Hunter, at least the 5 strongest, when it comes to that, opinions diverge greatly. Stay until the end to know the strongest in this incredible world. Go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe, activate the bell, and comment on where your top 5 in Hunter x Hunter would be. The world of Hunter x Hunter is vast and enigmatic, inhabited by characters with immeasurable strengths, many of whom have left deep marks in the history and mythology of the universe created by Yoshihiro Togashi. Evaluating the top 5 strongest is an exercise that takes into account not only raw power but also the influence their abilities have on the world, the feats accomplished in battles, and the relevance of the mysteries surrounding them. The ranking is based both on known material and on interpretations of the information provided throughout the series, but it's something that among many opinions can diverge greatly. We may be wrong or we may be right, but in fact, we will only know when the manga is finished. Already in 4th place, Netero, at his peak, was an incomparable force. While the series portrays Netero in his old age, he still demonstrated superhuman abilities. At his prime in his youth, he was probably invincible, given his complete mastery of the Hayakushi cannon, a technique that combines speed, precision, and power at an almost divine level. Years of extreme training made him capable of thinking 10,000 times in a single day, which only illustrates his discipline and spiritual connection to his martial art. His ability to test opponents like Maruam, even in his old age, reinforces how formidable he was at his peak. It wasn't just his physical strength, but also his strategic mentality and his willingness to sacrifice everything for a greater cause that distinguished him among giants. The peak of Netero is mentioned enigmatically in Hunter x Hunter, and much about this phase of his life is left to the fans' imagination. However, one notable feat from his youth that is often highlighted is his grueling training to master both body and spirit, which elevated him to almost divine levels. During his youth, Netero dedicated himself to a training regimen that included thinking 10,000 times a day while performing martial arts movements. This exercise not only shaped his body into a perfect weapon but also created a deep spiritual bond with his martial art. The intensity of this training was so extreme that he surpassed human limits, achieving unprecedented speed and power. Additionally, it's said that Netero, at his peak, was considered the strongest man in the world. One of the feats associated with this period was his battle against Maha Zoldyck, the oldest member of the legendary assassin family. Although the details of the confrontation were never fully revealed, the mere fact that he faced Maha and survived shows Netero's immeasurable strength at the time. Maha, by his own reputation, is a formidable fighter, and this confrontation suggests that Netero was at such a high level that few could challenge him directly. Although the manga and anime do not fully show Netero's feats in his youth, the illusions made about his training, reputation, and ability to face the most powerful fighters in history solidify his position as one of the greatest combatants of all time. His youth is surrounded by an air of mystery, but the echoes of his achievements are enough to highlight his legendary status in the Hunter x Hunter universe. In 3rd place, I could have placed many, but this one in particular not only stands out because of the position he occupies, but also because, aside from being the father of one of the protagonists, he has an unknown ability in none, capable of even creating a world within a world, as shown in the Greed Island arc. And who's in this 3rd place is him, Ging Freecss, who by himself is already a fascinating figure. Little is known about Gon's father, but his reputation is legendary. He is one of the best ninjutsus known, and one of the 12 Zodiacs, holding the codename Horse. His ability goes beyond direct combat. He is described as someone who is always one step ahead, both intellectually and strategically. The fact that Ging created mechanisms and left clues for only someone with extraordinary abilities to follow him shows how ingenious and powerful he is. His understanding of Nern is extremely advanced, and many characters recognize that Ging could be one of the greatest fighters if he wanted to. Despite his absence from important direct battles in the series, his implicit strength and how he manipulates the environment to his favor are enough to place him on this list. I could even place Gon at this level after his self-evolution against Neferpitou, but considering that Ging possesses one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire series, the power to copy and improve, not like Krallo, who needs specific conditions to use it, he does so masterfully, only needing to be hit by the technique. For example, during the election arc, Paris Dunhill mentions that Ging is always a few steps ahead of others, which suggests his ability to understand, replicate, and perhaps even improve strategies and abilities. His approach to Nun seems to be multidimensional, more focused on adaptation, intelligence, and invention than pure strength. This makes him a fascinating and highly unpredictable figure, being an opponent or ally who could probably take any ability he sees and turn it into something even more efficient and suited to his style. It's a combination of technical genius with raw instinct, something that few characters possess to the same degree as Ging, and the ability that Leorio uses on him. He quickly copies and makes it more effective. That said, it's narrowing down. Many will criticize for not having a certain someone on the list, but anyway, that's life. But second place couldn't be anyone else but Ging Freecss. He remains a mysterious and legendary figure in the mythology of Hunter x Hunter. It is believed that he is a distant ancestor of Ging and Gon, but what really sets him apart is his connection to the Dark Continent. He is the author of part of the Book of Journey to the East, an account of his journey through the dangerous and almost unexplored Dark Continent. Although much about him is speculative, the fact that he survived the continent and documented his experiences is proof that he is not just a skilled explorer, but someone who can face the most terrifying creatures known. Apparently missing or possibly still alive in the Dark Continent, Ging Freecss represents the pinnacle of resistance, skill, and human knowledge. His presence in the mythology of the world is so powerful that he continues to influence generations of hunters. And, in first place, we have the 5 calamities which are at the top of the world reported so far. These creatures, mentioned as threats from the Dark Continent, are entities that transcend the normal understanding of power. They include Ai, the mist that consumes lives, Brian, the creature that moves a giant tree, Hellbell, the snake that spreads deadly diseases, Papu, the parasitic mushroom, and Zobai, the being that psychologically torments humans. Unlike any other being or character in the series, these calamities are not just powerful, they represent forces of nature that even the most talented hunters do not dare to face directly. Each of them possesses abilities that challenge the limits of human survival, making them not only dangerous, but almost invincible. The idea that these calamities exist, even in a universe where figures like Meruem and Netero have set absurd standards of strength, is a testament to their magnitude. Together, these figures form the essence of power in Hunter x Hunter, symbolizing not only strength and combat abilities, but also strategy, intelligence, and the ability to inspire fear or absolute respect. Their stories, whether based on confirmed feats or the mythology of the universe, create the foundation for the complexity and vastness of the world created by Togashi. If there's one thing that unites them, it's the fact that each one, in their own way, shaped or continues to shape the fate of the Hunter universe. Of course, we could have beyond Netero on this list, Meruem, Adult Gon, and maybe even Hisoka now after his post-death nun is activated, and maybe even the Princes of Kakin, but the princes are another story and another video. The Princes of Kakin, introduced in the Succession War arc in Hunter x Hunter, gain their powers through a special ritual associated with succession to the throne of the kingdom. This process is known as the Succession War and directly involves the use of creatures called nun beasts. These nun beasts are created through an ancient nun ceremony ritual, which uses a special urn and requires the participants, the princes, to drop a drop of their own blood into it. From this, these entities are automatically generated and linked to the respective prince. Without the nun beasts, the Princes of Kakin would depend solely on their natural abilities, strategic intelligence, and for some, any training or disposition they might have toward nun. However, most of them do not seem to have exceptional physical or combat capabilities on their own, at least not at the level of experienced hunters or formidable nun users. The nun beasts are a central part of the defense and attack system in the Succession War, and without them, many of the princes would likely be at a disadvantage in a direct confrontation. But some still use it only as a complement. But since this arc is still under development, I thought it was better not to mention them here, even though there are great nun users among them. Ging Freecss, in his enhanced adult state, is a rare example of what rage and extreme sacrifice can achieve. During the confrontation against Neferpitou, Gon gave up his future to access all the power he would have had at the peak of his life. This transformation was a staggering moment in the series, where Gon transcended human limits to become a monster of pure strength and determination. In his adult form, he dominated Pitou with ease, something that would have been unthinkable in his normal form. However, this power came at a devastating cost, leaving Gon on the brink of death after the fight. And this kind of erases him being one of the strongest because it is something momentary and not a power still explored. In the end, Strength in Hunter x Hunter is not defined only by raw power, but also by intelligence, determination, and the ability to adapt. These 5 characters, alive or dead, represent the pinnacle of different forms of power, showing that in a world where none is the foundation of everything, creativity and character can surpass even the most apparent limitations. It is this depth that makes Hunter x Hunter so fascinating and its characters so memorable.